So thank you. It's always interesting to be back in Riga. The last time is 5 years ago. You have been to a couple of American presentations, I assume. So there is always the safe harbor statement. My personal safe harbor statement is the beautiful slides are from marketing, the ugly ones are from me. Okay, but as you know, with PowerPoint slides, they are like children. Even if they are ugly, you will think they are beautiful just because they are yours, right? So it's a very beautiful presentation. That's just to prepare you for that. I'll talk a little bit what everyone likes to talk about, himself. So I'll talk about myself. I'll talk about a couple of challenges we see out there in the market, and I'll talk about how we help our customers to tackle those challenges. So my personal background is that I've been in the security industry for 17 years. And if you ask anyone working in security right now, everyone has a history in security somehow, okay? So I've been on the good side for 17 years, running a reseller and value distributor company for many, many years. I founded 3 companies, one of them being a security company. And my background is actually quite technical, so I learned 5 programming languages, and I travel a lot, and that suits quite well with the job I have now. I'm most of the time out of the country. And when I'm in country, I actually like cooking as a hobby, as you can easily see. And so between Christmas and 7th of January, my kids are complaining because they say, okay, now it's again only food for adults. Good. Yeah, and in my spare time, I model a little bit. That was for a project where we did like a Sin City type movie, and I was the bad guy. Good. So let's talk about data and about security a bit. 18 billion have been spent last year for IT security, and the predictions are another trillion will be spent over the course of the next 5 years. So with all the attacks which are out there, with all the ransomware which is around, that's the picture of WannaCry, by the way, and Petya and others. The question comes immediately to your mind. So why are the problems actually getting worse if a lot of money is being spent and the problems are just getting bigger? Is it just because all the security technologies which companies are buying are run in a silo, not talking to each other? Are there other reasons? So let's have a look. So who knows the book, Guess How Much I Love You, the children book? No? So there is one quote in this book. It goes, I love you to the moon and back. So who knows how far away the moon is in kilometers? Rough guess? Nobody. Okay. It's between 360,000 and 405,000 kilometers. It depends where on the elliptical course the moon is. So it's a far way out, right? If you take all the data which is available on the internet right now and burn it on CDs and stack it up, you get a tower to the moon and back. The sheer amount of information which is out there, which needs protection, is growing just really rapidly. It's doubling every 10 months. And that's an additional risk, and that's where additional investments are required. The human nature tends to trust other people, right? So everyone is clicking on a link. When a stranger asks you to click on the link, everyone is sharing the password. I've heard that people are using the same password for multiple applications, and times are really changing. Where 20 years ago, there were rules like you don't meet people from the internet. And I forgot the other rule. You don't get into the car of strangers, right? So what do you do when you open the Uber app? You call someone from the internet and get into the car of a stranger. So times are changing, and this is based on the human nature and trust and also curiosity partly. It's very, very easy to hide yourself in the darknet or in the internet. Only a very small percentage of all the cyber attackers are being identified, and even less are being caught. So that's an additional factor. And there is no adult in the room. There are so many compliance regulations. Who has heard what the biggest fines have been? Nobody's getting fined, right? So I assume this will be changing with GDPR, but we will see how this will be evolving next year. And there is one more thing. The perimeter is shifting. So in the past, it was quite straightforward. We had the inside world, the outside world, the good, the bad. We put a firewall in between, and the data was safe. That concept has changed. Today, the data is everywhere, in the cloud, on-premise, in applications, somewhere in subsidiaries, in partner factories, on IoT devices, on mobile devices. So it's just getting harder and harder to protect the growing amount of data which is out there. So the missing link for most of the enterprises is that somehow they want to work with data which is inside, also on the outside world, and they just don't know really how to achieve that. And if you look at the systems which are in use, there are business applications and Office. 99% of all files and data is being generated in one of those two applications. Business software like SAP or Oracle, and Microsoft Office in most of the cases. And a lot of business functions are working with those files which are stored there or being generated there. And a lot of security silos and technologies have been bought or are in use to protect the data which is being generated by those systems. So the challenge is, what do you do when you actually are exchanging those files, those data with the outside world? So imagine you could control that. Imagine you could access any type of data from any device, from any place of the world, regardless where it is, in the private or public cloud. That's exactly what we are doing. When I'm asked, what do you do for a living, I'm always saying I'm in the business of selling a good feeling. So we give our customers a good feeling that their digital assets, their intellectual property, is being protected even as they are sharing that with the outside world. That's exactly what we are doing. We're adding a control and governance parameter around all the processes which are relevant to exchanging data with the outside world and collaborating on data, which is any place you can imagine. The way we are doing that is we have a technology platform which is built on 4 pillars. The first pillar is the security pillar. We have a lot own features, technical capabilities built into the product, like AV, which is embedded in the hardened VM appliance. We have the ownership of the keys is always with the customer, not with us. We have role-based permissions, expiry dates. We can create a secure data room with a view-only mode and add watermarking. So whenever someone is looking at the data, it's not being downloaded. It's being shown only online with a watermark. So we can do a lot just based on our technology, but we are also integrating with existing technology to leverage the existing security investment, like ATP, sandboxing solutions, Lastline, FireEye, DLP with Digital Guardian, McAfee, Symantec, MDM. We are integrated into Good or BlackBerry, as well as Mobile Iron. SIEM, we talk to any because we just speak syslog and can deliver all the relevant information to those guys. And on the authentication side, we can do LDAP, multi-LDAP, Azure AD. So we just integrate in the whole ecosystem which is existing on the security infrastructure side. On the governance side, we do a couple of things ourselves, like holding certifications like FedRAMP, FIPS, SOC 2, but we also are enabling our customers to be compliant when it comes to securely exchanging data with the outside world. A CISO dashboard is right now in development. It will be released early next year, showing all the anomalies, showing in a drill-downable way all the relevant information you require to understand where is my intellectual property going, to which country, which type of information, who downloaded, who did what, who shared it in the first place. So our platform is just logging everything happening and then delivering it in a very easy, understandable way. And we also are going to release a GDPR report. So when you are audited by someone who will do the GDPR audits, you just hit the one button, a report is being created, and you hand it to the auditor, and you are good. We make it very, very simple to access the data, regardless where it is, in the cloud or on-premise. We are very flexible when it comes to deployment options. 80% of our customers are using our technology on-premise. And when I say on-premise, I mean 100% on-premise. 20% are using us either in AWS or in Amazon or in a private instance, or we host that for them. So we have any flavor in between when it comes to deployment options. We have a secure web client, and if you ever have used Dropbox from the web interface, it just looks pretty much the same, because we thought we won't invent the wheel twice. Dropbox educated 300 million people how to work with files and folders, so we just have been using the same user experience principles. On the mobile side, we are supporting iOS, Android, Windows, and Macs. We can integrate them. We have a strategic partnership with Microsoft as well. So we do Office 365 offline, Microsoft offline as well. And we are developing right now Salesforce, SAP, and Oracle plugins. From my point of view, the real beauty of the technology is the integration and automation part, because this is a way where our customers are automating, digitizing, transforming business processes in a very secure way. That means everything which is happening on the simplicity or simple access pillar, like in an Outlook plugin, you share a file. This is all running through the whole security stack and audit log stack. If you connect an SAP and purchase orders are being sent and the PDF is being automatically taken out of the mail, replaced by a secure download link, this is all logged and available for audit purposes. If you request someone external to upload a file, this is all going through the whole security stack. So I'll be talking about a couple of use cases a little bit later, just to show how our customers are using our technology. So the big topic this year, and with only a couple of months left, is GDPR. We identified 5-6 areas where we can actually deliver with our technology on the GDPR requirements, on other regulatory requirements as well, but mainly that's around GDPR. So there is a challenge to get shadow IT under control. There is also the challenge to get the documentation and proof done, and also identifying personal data. Encryption, monitoring compliance is a thing, and also the right to be forgotten. And we have built in our platform a lot of capabilities where we are delivering the functionality which is required to deliver on those requirements. I'm not going through every single bullet point. That's one of the not marketing slides, as you can easily see. But this is based on a use case where we recently won a deal with an organization with 50,000 users. And this customer has evaluated us against Box. So he said, I have 50,000 endpoints I want to control. So that was, the use case was more on the left side, no servers, no applications, just endpoints. And when we met with him and he decided to go with us, he said, we asked, why have you chosen us? And he said, I'm just not up to controlling 50,000 connections between our network, 50,000 devices and the cloud. So what I wanted to have is one central gateway where I can actually attach more use cases like servers which are doing SFTP, scripting, automation stuff. I can attach that moving forward in more use cases. But the primary one is I get everything under control through one centralized gateway, integrating my security infrastructure I have already in place. And that was the big argument for choosing Excellion Kiteworks over just a cloud storage provider. And actually, this can be done hybrid. So some things being on-premise, something in the cloud. So again, we are very flexible on that. A couple of more use cases. We have a reseller who came to us asking us to help with a migration from nodes to Exchange. So that's not really what we are doing, but they want to leverage our Outlook plugin in that project. If you do an assessment, what is inside an Exchange storage, you find out 95 to 99% is pure attachments. So if you are planning to migrate 80,000 users to Exchange, you want to build a lean Exchange infrastructure and not blow a full-blown setup with a lot of storage. And that's where we are coming into the game. Our Outlook plugin enables the offloading of all attachments. And again, they are all being run through the whole security stack. And increasing the size limit, we can send up to 4 gigabytes. It's not 10 or 30 or something like that. So that's one of the classical use cases we have. Another use case is getting shadow IT under control. I talked about that a little bit already. But we have many customers who implemented next-gen firewalls or CASBs. And, but since the employees want to be more productive and not steal data, they need a corporate controlled, managed alternative for that. And that's where we are being used as well. And another use case is a secure access from mobile devices to data which is stored in SharePoint with all the audit trails and without the authentication hassle and without risking to expose the SharePoint infrastructure to the external world. So we are like the security layer before that. I recently visited a customer in Hungary where we had a discussion around how are you actually using our technology. And they immediately came up with a couple of use cases themselves. So we are doing that occasionally, that we talk to our customers and asking them how do you use us, because we often just don't know. And one use case is the boardroom. So only a small group of people has access to very, very sensitive data stored in one location. And in a board, there are externals, there are internals, so it's a mixed group having access to sensitive data. The second use case is this company is acquiring other companies, very sensitive data. Sometimes data has to be shared without the counterpart being able to download it, just to have the view-only mode. So another nice use case. And that company is in the oil and gas industry. If you are buying a $150 million oil field, you don't want to risk $150 million. You want to share the risk. So they are always building a conglomerate of different companies. So they are dragging in Rosneft, Turkish Petroleum, etc., and sharing the risk in this investment. But those companies have to work on the same data with the same geo data and etc. And that's in a joint venture situation a use case as well. And sometimes accidents are happening in that industry. So a pipeline blows up, people are injured, and a task force is being sent to investigate the accident. Before this data is being published to the public, it's stored internally and worked on internally only in a secure space we are providing. Another customer of us is in the financial industry. They have the challenge to increase the mortgage application process from 48 hours to 12. They just want to be quicker in approving or rejecting a loan application, a mortgage application. And that's what we did there. We integrated our technology into their web application form where the customer is applying for a loan. The customer is receiving automatically an email where he clicks on a link and is uploading in a secure, encrypted way all his data like payslips and criminal records, etc. And as soon as the data is uploaded, the bank employee receives a notification. So the whole process is now taking less than 12 hours. The customers are happier, the employees are happier, it's all automated, digitized, etc. And we do all the handling in the backend through our API. A couple of words about Excellion. So we have been around for a while, since 18 years already. The analysts are loving us. We are a visionary in Gartner. We are a leader in Forrester. And we are profitable, growing, have a lot of customers. The common denominator is really, it's all about sensitive data. And as soon as someone has to share it, as soon as someone has to work on that with the outside world, those customers are coming to us. So to summarize most of what I have said is at the heart of the platform, this is a secure file sharing application. So we do the same what Dropbox and Box are doing, but we do it secure. And actually we don't compete with those. We can integrate them and extend our security stack to cover content sources being in the cloud or on-premise. And the beauty of the technology is the whole automation part where you can have the full security stack anyway, on-prem, in the cloud, and automate that, a lot of business processes and make your operations more efficient and more secure. Do you have any questions?
Looks like no.
Maybe.
So maybe you could show an example how you share the data. Is it possible to do a quick live demo?
I don't know.
Okay. It's not your PC, I guess. So is it connected to internet? Okay, so maybe it won't work. Nobody knows here.
Yeah, so we have a couple of YouTube videos, just a minute or so, with 4 or 5 use cases where you share data, where you request files, several use cases just from the web interface. It's really difficult to showcase an API or automation.
Oh, it's basically the workflow, but I get it. I'll check out on YouTube then.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I have missed the beginning of the presentation, so therefore probably you have told something about that, but I have paid attention to the last slide about the process automation capabilities and ERP systems being integrated and so on. So as regards those ones, do you have the plugin that is built in or integrated with existing some well-known ERP systems, or you are doing some business process automation on your own as a customization, as a sort of tailoring for some individual customers and so on?
Okay, we have a fully documented API, and most of our customers today have just attached our technology to their business applications on their own, to logistics software, to SAP and Oracle and Salesforce as well. Rapid7, the vulnerability management company, they have integrated us in their ticketing system in Salesforce, for example. So when Rapid7 is asking you as a customer, please give me the log data for your situation you have, you are in the backend using our technology. We are now developing a standardized plugin just to make it easier to integrate that. But one of our SEs has also written a couple of command line tools to do 14, 15 different actions just with executable and a couple of parameters in our application. So it's quite easy to integrate us in pretty much any existing application. Just to give you one more idea, we have a logistics company out of the Middle East as a customer. They reduced the time which the ship is actually in port. So they integrated us in their logistics platform, leveraging our APIs. Usually they would arrive, clear all the documents, it would take them 3 hours. Now they start the whole process while they are still at sea, with documents going back and forth and changes, etc. They reduced the time from 3 to 1 hour, where the ship is in port. And knowing that this is roughly $300,000 per hour, they have to pay to the port authority. It's quite a lot. And the ROI was quite quickly calculated. But we have several examples with SAP, as well as with Salesforce. Today, we are working on standardized plugins right now. And I expect them to be available early next year, like Q1.
Well, okay, thank you for your presentation.
Thank you for your attention.
And we have a little present for you too.